so digital inclusion, AI, and then the careers initiatives that we are involved in. First of all, digital devices, and we're a D school, so being your own device school, we are also roughly 40% school card. So for interstate people that don't know what school card means, low income families that get put in, given a category, I suppose, that they can access extra additional funding. So the digital strategy in South Australia came out 2023, and this was AI grabbed the policy for me and quickly summarised it in 3 bullet points, which was outstanding. So the focus on empowering schools, talking about that infrastructure, linked in with what Nick said before around things sitting covered, I suppose, and being intentional with your decisions. That emphasis on digital literacy. And then the big one that we've really worked with is to ensure that everybody has the correct digital tools to be able to do their job and to be able to learn effectively. So digital devices at SEHS, we sat down and we decided, okay, how can we give our school card students a really high quality laptop, and what's the most affordable but also the most effective model to go with? So we decided that we would purchase from the department through their new portal, that we would purchase the school card devices at, I think we got about a 50% price, 50% off we get for them for the school card families. And we purchased them for year 7 and for year 10 students, because the digital strategy says that we have to have them 3 years and then the student can no longer have that device. It must go elsewhere. They must have a device that is 3 years or younger, which that's a whole other discussion around digital waste and sustainability that I'm not sure I completely agree with, but I think we're following guidance. So we here just some numbers that we had prior when we first did the strategy. I guess we didn't really think about the implementation too much, and it was sort of like we just rolled it out, and we didn't have a huge take up of loan laptops compared to then if we look at the year 10, for example. We've been really intentional with our advertising this year, making sure we got out to families at the end of the previous year, making sure all of the portal was available for them, and that year 10 number is the biggest one, from 15 the previous year to 36 in this year. So just comes back to that intentional, being intentional when we're trying to get families on board. It's going to make our life easier. If we can control the devices that the kids have got in front of them, it's going to make teachers' lives easier, it's going to make leaders' lives easier. At the end of that 3-year cycle, those devices then go into our other fleets that we have, like our daily loan fleet that we have at the front office that I'll talk about in a moment, TRT fleet, and then there's some curriculum specific ones floating around as well. So the plan being within a 5-year period, all laptops on site will be at least no older than 5 years. Because when those get to the end of the 3 years, they go into that fleet. Yeah. The next year, they get replaced into a different fleet. And then it just continuously cycles around so that we've always got high quality laptops in front of staff and students. We are also involved, our IT support is provided for by the department. So we're part of the centralised IT programme, which I'm guessing you guys would be too, being in the country. Are you guys as well?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, excellent. Everyone is. Look at that. So because we have that, it's the one thing we've really noticed is that instant communication with the department, like having that easy line straight into the IT team of the department has been really helpful. So other digital devices that we have, I mentioned before, we have a daily loan fleet. One thing we've introduced this year, we did some surveying and we're like, okay, what is the main reason most people come and borrow a laptop for the day? And it's that they forgot their charger and their laptop's dead. So okay, well, we can save some time here straight away, purchase some chargers. The chargers can then be loaned out for students from the front office on the library system that gets attached to the kids. So that has extended our ability to be able to give kids laptops a lot. It's been a really good success. So we have about 45 laptops that sit in the front office in the trolley. Intentionally, they're not the best laptops to try and discourage kids from intentionally forgetting it and going and buying one every day. But they do the job, they can do everything that they need. Obviously, we have TRT laptops that are pretty average at the moment, so that'll be the first ones to be updated. Then we have some curriculum-specific ones. So over in the STEM space, we have some slightly higher-powered laptops. They're getting to the end of their life now, so they're not the best, but we've purchased them a slightly more expensive model for things like being able to run Unity and be able to run sort of programming-specific software. We've got 3 computer labs across the school that all have varying uses and specs on the devices. We've got some Lenovo tablets that we've purchased. We've got a soccer program here at the school, and we've recently entered a lease agreement with Playmaker, which is a tracking software. They wear an ankle bracelet on both of their feet, and it gives like hundreds of metrics for the kids to use. It's incredible the data that comes from it. So we bought some tablets for that to be able to be successful. And then we've got our VR headsets that, again, are coming to end of life, but they still have a use. And we were lucky enough to have, before we entered the centralised IT program, we had a very, very knowledgeable IT manager who was very good at creating things. And he created an app that sits on our headset so that they don't need any internet access. So they're completely safe. The kid can't go on and science things, and so our science and HAS teams use those a lot, which is just a different medium of sharing media. So really cool. So that's the overview, and obviously you've seen all our robotics stuff, but I left that off because I knew we'd have already talked about it. But yeah, we've obviously got Vex robotics from 7 to 12. We've got every kit you can actually buy. We've got at least one of them, which is pretty cool. Some considerations around our technology to ensure that all students are able to access technology effectively. Continue that cycle that I was saying, so that all of our devices on site are of a good standard. We're currently in a hybrid model, so yes, we're a BYOD site, but we have more and more school card numbers. We're 40% school card now. We don't have a take-up, as numbers said earlier, we don't have 40% of our students actually taking up the offer of a free laptop. So that is the real hurdle that we're battling with. We are purchasing these devices that will still get used, but we're purchasing them with the purpose of for low-income families. And that hurdle of either language, so we're going to work really hard to translate all of our information and get that through our VSSO network. So is language the barrier that they're not understanding? Is it a pride thing? Is it they don't want a handout and they're like, no, we're going to purchase a laptop? Is it advertising at the wrong time? So we're trying to address all these things for next year, because we would like to see 40% of our kids getting that laptop basically is one of the school card laptops. So a HP, same as what you guys are using there, would be in front of all of our school card students. As opposed to them going to cash converters and buying a $150 laptop that can't even load a web page. So something that we're working hard towards. A thought there is, do you move to a completely managed site? Do you go, okay, we're going to be a Chromebook site, and we're going to say as part of enrollment you must pay $250 and you get a Chromebook. Then we can completely manage it. It's the same for everything, pros and cons. So that's something we're considering at the moment, maybe with a year 7 cohort when they come in, maybe next year or the year after. But yeah, anyone that currently is in that model, would love to hear any feedback after the end of the presentation for sure. The second thing is seeing everyone's conversations, sort of the main reason everyone wants to be here today, which is awesome, something I'm super passionate about. Again, something I sort of fell into and have involved a bit in my role now this year. So I know I was asked to talk about AI for teachers, but I thought I would just quickly also just give some information about how we're utilising it with students and some of the processes we're putting in place. So I guess why AI? We've already talked about that workload reduction. We use it for feedback for students, both on the teacher and the student side. Students using AI to get their own feedback, and the teacher using it to give students feedback. Resource creation, creating unit plans, differentiation. The list does go on. Like it's we haven't even touched the surface of WISC, the one that we use yet. There's still hundreds of things that you can do that we haven't used yet. So, and yeah, so we're all in that same situation. 2022 was it when ChatGPT came around, and we were like, "Oh, hello, what do we do here?" So what we did, we jumped straight onto it. I delivered some staff PD showcasing a range of AIs, just trying to get ahead of the game, created some guidelines around that, and just really tried to create the mentality among staff and the environment of please try, like don't be scared of it. We want you to play in this space as long as we're being safe and secure and we're using the correct channels and the ones that we're saying are good to use. Please use it. Because yeah, that's one of the things I'll talk about after about the challenge, I guess. And we drafted a policy around, I didn't want to call it an AI policy because AI is just the first thing in this journey of technology that's going to take over our jobs, not take our jobs from us, as in take over the way we do our jobs. We amended our academic integrity policy to include the use of AI and in specific the referencing and citation guidelines from SACE. And then we're in the process now of developing student guidelines. So a basic PowerPoint to go out during mentoring will be available for students to access. And then we investigated more and more and more. This was our policy. I will share these slides later, so if you guys want to have a look at it. This was draft one of it, and we haven't revisited it since. So this is something on the list to revisit this year. And then along came WISC. So post-COVID, the EA agreement workload backlash that we all felt so hard in South Australia. And one of my teachers came to me and said, "Hey, have you seen this on TikTok?" And I was like, "I'm not looking at TikTok. That's something that you wanted to talk to staff for, like, no offense." And then she said to me, and I was like, "Okay, I get this. This is pretty incredible." So I guess one thing that I thought would be really good to talk about was not just here's WISC, go for it, was like how we actually implemented it and how we were strategic and intentional with the way that we implemented it. So we said, okay, what is the biggest workload that you as teachers you think you have at the moment? And overwhelmingly it's marking in a high school setting, and it would be no different in a primary school, I'm sure. Marking is huge. Marking looks different in a primary school, but still would be up there. So okay, let's investigate the feedback features within WISC. And I can look at the data, and I would be confident to say that 90% of its use last year was all feedback. So obviously I'm not going to go into how that works now. I'll show you that this afternoon. And then this year, in year two, we're looking at okay, how can we now use it to create resources for ourselves, to create unit plans, and integrating that with some of our teams that are about to step into SA curriculum that's about to launch for some of our subjects, and obviously version 9 changes for other subjects as well. And then later in the year, we're really having a focus on using it for differentiation across the board. So being intentional, not overwhelming staff, making sure staff had time to adopt and adapt their practice to be able to get the best outcomes using it, because we are paying for it. So, you know, there is a free version that you guys will use later, but we are paying for the premium version, costing us about $8,500 a year. But we think that's a good investment for the time saved.
By user?
It is a negotiated price with WISC, by user, So student use of AI from the last TLG. I sat in a session with, I don't remember the Simpsons reference, remember his name, Dr. Nick Jackson, from Scotch College, and he shared the poster that he created on safe use of AI in classrooms. So I adapted that one and created this one for our classrooms. It's in its final stages of being approved to be able to go up in classrooms soon. This one is sort of this is how you use it safely. This is what you need to consider before you're using it. Obviously, it's even just looking at it, it's aimed towards our senior students more than our middle school students. But still, important again, I'll share all these resources at the end. And then something that we're literally doing as we speak is we want to be able to give staff and students a clear message of how they can and can't use AI when they're working and in their assignments. And biggest fear of teachers, I guess, is plagiarism. So how can we give the teachers a framework to work within so they have somewhere to stand when they're accusing a kid of plagiarism or having that conversation, but also so that the kids might actually not be scared to use it and be like, oh, okay, and they might end up getting some better outcomes. So on the left-hand side there is that table sits on that common assessment template. So on the assessment task template that we have across the school, we all use the same template. All the basic stuff, learning intentions, the task, due dates, all that sort of stuff. This also then will sit on there, and the teacher will highlight which one for this particular assignment. So this is a completely research-based assignment. I don't want to be using AI, or this is an understanding recall assignment. I don't want to be using any AI. No AI help. Actually, this one is a good example. One of our English teachers they were writing a horror story, a scary story, and they then, at the end of the story, they put their story into AI to create an image that was related to that story. So for that one, AI creativity and problem solving. And then we talked about this at curriculum meeting last night. We're going to have another box which will allow for teacher specifics to put in there. So, in that one, it would be creativity after you've finished your work. So only for image generation. And then on the right is another poster for classrooms, which is the same, just with that more information and examples of where the students might use it. So this is that sort of where we're moving towards at the moment. We have no feedback on this yet because it's not implemented, but yeah, I just threw it in last night thinking it might be something useful to share. Some considerations and challenges, we talked about it at the start, that negative towards AI from staff. We have some staff that use it very heavily, but if I was to go into a staff meeting and be like, oh, Amelia, amazing job using AI, she shut down. Like, don't say that. Everyone I'm using it. And you're like, it's amazing what you're doing with it. Like, it's really good. So that, I guess, negative connotations that go along with it is a barrier and something that we need to try and work towards to change. And then, that feel like it's cheating, but it's not. We're really big on the 80-20 rule. 80% of the AI can do for you, but the 20% is the most important part, and that's your part, going over what the AI has generated and actually making sure it's correct and accurate and adding to it yourself. You're still going to save yourself a heap of time there, but the 20% is the most important part there. So I try and put that onto our staff as much, but that can be a challenge where you will get staff that will click the button and then just walk away and you're like, okay, we're done. That's a concern, but I still think the benefits outweigh the negatives in that space. And then, what's next? Who knows? We're in this space of constant change with AI, and I get the beta updates for Brisk, and there is constantly new features that they're testing and trying. So it is constantly changing, and Brisk is one app that sits in thousands, millions probably. So who knows what's next and what challenges will come, but I think we're in a better state than we were 2 years ago to be able to deal with those changes. The final thing I'll talk to just real quickly is, the careers. We're involved. We've been chosen for the launch of the Virtual Work Experience Programme, and that is run by the Tech Council. It's a federally funded programme that is free for all 14 to 25-year-olds. Interested in a tech career. There's actually more than just tech careers on the website. There's other types of careers you can access as well. And it's just what you can't be, what you can't see. We said that already today. Being able to go on, how many of our students in our context are going to be able to go to Commonwealth Bank and go, hey, can I have some work experience, please? They're going to say no, right? Whereas on this website, they can access these units of work that have been designed to give them work experience as a website designer for Commonwealth Bank or as a UI, a UX interface engineer, a software engineer. All of these tech jobs. It's giving them the opportunity to get some micro accreditations for them through the Year 13 website. So the Salisbury Council, our local council, have asked us if we can be the launch for their push of this new programme in the area. So we have leaders and MPs and all sorts of big hats coming here on the 17th of March to launch that programme. I'll be recovering from the F1 in Melbourne, so I won't be here, but that's a shame. That's on you, Michelle. Yeah, so we're hoping to embed this further. Something before Michelle left, she's been working really hard on is a career development programme here at the school and really embedding career education into the school. And in my job, my part of that, the passion of the tech side and working together has been really fun there. So this is a great starting point to launch our work in that space. And then finally, just another thing that we're just starting out at the moment, another thing I got from Nick Jackson was an IT committee, a student voice specifically for IT. So I put out on DayMap an application process. I think I've had 10 students from across 7 to 12 come back to me. Again, lots of girls, which is awesome. Really, really good. Really happy about that. And we're going to meet 3 times a term for half an hour, really short. We'll have some extended meetings if we ever need them. But I guess the purpose of it is to be a student voice for anything to do with IT, to be a body of kids that we can train and give some experience in leading some tech skills. We've got leaders, they're running an event. Cool. I need someone to come and help set up my tech space for me. Cool. These kids, go and set the laptop up, go and set the audio up, go and get everything good to go and set up, and then be a support when that event's happening. And we've got some kids in there that are really strong programmers, so they might be able to develop a little app or develop a website to be able to help with something the teacher is doing or a programmer is doing. And set up a display for key things, a digital display, manage this digital signage that goes on around the school, things like that. So really excited to get this started. We haven't met yet. We only formed this week pretty much, so I'm going to aim to meet by about week 9 this term. Really excited to get that one off the ground. And that is all I've got to share. Any questions?
Yeah.